Hi, this video is about the biggest SEO mistakes to avoid. This includes the biggest mistakes that I see people making and that I've made myself in the last about 10 years of doing SEO. My name is David Hood, and this is Digital Domination Dojo, and I've made well over $1 million with online with SEO, and I'm on a mission to help 10,000 people make their first $1 million online. So let's just jump into it. One of the biggest mistakes, is, if I can spell, is reading articles equals understanding. All right, and this comes into different forms other than just reading, but even like watching training videos, even good training videos over and over again, means that you understand SEO, means that you can actually rank a website at Google. And there's several reasons why this is a huge mistake, and this is just really, really common. I see there's a lot of people that come in, or a lot of clients that come in, and they think they get what's going on. And it's not, the brain is really good at giving us a false sense of understanding, and that's part of the problem here. Another part of the problem is that there's a bunch of SEO bloggers who have never actually ranked a website, who are essentially regurgitating other things that other people have written about. A lot of times it's like half-truths or things that sound good, sound like they should be true, but it's usually incomplete, or missing some greater context. It's one of those things where sometimes it's like, yeah, that's technically, sometimes it's not true, but like a lot of times it's technically that's true, but it's not really, it's kind of beside the point, or you're missing a really huge piece of the puzzle. But it goes deeper than that. And I have Steph Curry here. If you don't know who this is, he is a famous basketball player who's probably the best shooter of all time. So the person who shoots the basketball better than anyone else, really, from his first season in the NBA, and he was killing everybody in terms of shooting. And my analogy for this is also, even if Steph Curry, even if it's someone who really knows their SEO, if he were to come and he were to teach you how to shoot a basketball, and he were to tell you, you do this, you push this, and you were to spend even a whole day with him personally training you, does this mean that now you're one of the best shooters that have ever existed? No. He has put in countless amount of reps. Who knows how many times he shot a basketball? Probably 100,000 times in his entire life, maybe more. And that's what it takes to do SEO. It takes experience. You have to put in the reps. You have to actually do the stuff and see how Google responds. Then do some more stuff and see how Google responds. In a context for which you can see all the major moving pieces. And there's a lot of people out there who maybe they've done a little bit of a piece here or a piece there, and technically they've been part of a project, but a lot of these SEO bloggers have not actually ranked a website, or they've ranked a very narrow set of websites. I've ranked quite a wide range of different websites in different markets, and I can tell you there's all sorts of different conditions for which a website can find yourself in, and the only way to really understand that is to have experience, because sometimes something matters and sometimes it doesn't matter. So again, reading a bunch of articles, watching an awesome video like this one, it doesn't necessarily, it's very unlikely that if that's all you did, that would actually make you good at SEO. You actually have to put in the time and get experience, and actually try some stuff and do some stuff and see how Google responds. And you need quite a few reps of that before you can really understand SEO. And even then, I don't think that there's anyone in the world, even that works at Google, that completely understands all the implications of Google's algorithm, because it's just so many different things, moving pieces. Oftentimes they make a change and they're like, oh wait, it had these unforeseen circumstances, and so they dial back parts of the change, or they modify it. All right, so another one that's really common is poor and lazy keyword research. And now this is actually a really good opportunity, because by doing your homework, by doing it the right way, or a more thorough way, you can end up with better results than other people. And by results, we also have to look at like how people define results. A lot of people define results in a poor way. They look at like what's their number one keyword, a trophy keyword, as a lot of people would call it, and then they like define their entire metric by how do we rank for that one keyword. That's not really a good way to do it. From a purely practical standpoint, it's poor. Really what you should think about is attracting traffic that is your target market. And the more of that you can get, the better. Now, there can be different search phrases that provide different levels of quality of the traffic. But in general, you can that should be essentially your primary metric for SEO. It shouldn't be, rankings are important, an important metric. They're the most telling metric, in terms of showing you kind of where you're at, but ultimately they're not where you need, it's not the objective of the project. The objective of the project isn't to look good. The objective of the project is to drive to put your business or someone else's business in front of their target market, and give them more opportunities to sell, essentially. And so what ends up happening is that you get the most people competing over this one, what they're calling here the fat head. So 90+% of people are competing for the same, let's say 20% of traffic. All right. And so what that means is that all this traffic right here is a lot of times up for grabs, not a whole lot of effort. Especially what people typically would call long tail. Now, these numbers will vary depending on all sorts of different factors, but in general, there's a lot of this traffic available. And if you do it right, if you set up your site right by trying to rank for this long tail stuff, it actually helps you rank for the bigger stuff. And so, but a lot of people, they kind of go over this really quickly. They'll just like, oh, we found these top 5 keywords, these get the search the most, and we're going to target those. No, in some markets that works, but in a lot of markets, you're leaving a lot of money on the table and you're diminishing your ability to actually rank for the big keywords. And my experience is that just taking a step back and really, really paying attention closely to and really trying to scour and look at it multiple times. What is your market typing into the search engines? And then from there go about, okay, now how do we target them? And as a result, a lot of times, a lot of the faster traffic with SEO projects comes from here. All right, and it stays. Like, just doing these are such low hanging fruit. A lot of times you rank for these, and then they 2, 3, 4, 5 years later, you're still ranking for these long tails because no one's still no one is really targeting it. And not only that, but this traffic actually tends to be more valuable per person because this tends to be more general. And this tends to be more specific. So they arrive on a very specific page, and that you can cater exactly to that target market, much closer to what they're actually looking for. And as a result, they engage with your brand more and typically buy more. Okay. Another common mistake is buying bulk low quality links. Now this is a lot of times, I don't think this is quite as common anymore. I still think I have had clients come to me and they did this. And they kind of know that it's wrong, but it seems like such a shortcut. The part of the problem with this is it actually used to work. Like, I would say, so it's 2019 and 2015-ish, plus or minus a year, this would actually work. And even now, there are ways to where like this could work. All right, but it is very difficult. And it is more likely to hurt you than help you. And on most circumstances, I would say it just does nothing for you. All right. People do this through like Fiverr. But what's happening with the algorithm is that it's going much more towards quality and relevance. And it's just every year it seems to go more and more towards that. And it becomes very difficult to have high quality and high relevance when you're just buying bulk low quality backlinks. There are ways to buy backlinks that are not low quality and that are relevant, but that's much more difficult, much more expensive, and outside the scope of this video. But in general, going out and especially buying links when you don't know what you're doing, if you don't know anything about SEO, you can't just say, oh, well, I don't want to hire someone when really all I need is backlinks. Well, because the problem with that approach is that what makes sense for your links depends on the whole picture of your SEO project. Where are you now? What's with your on page? What are your other links that are going on? What are your competitors' links looking like? And so all that needs to be considered in terms of what the properties of these backlinks that you should be getting should have. And so just like, doing a little bit of research and going, oh, okay, cool. I want to rank my website, so I'm going to go buy even quality links. That's not necessarily going to help you. A quality link is kind of in the eye of the beholder. What is one website's quality link could be another website's low quality link. because relevance matters, and not relevance as we define it, but relevance as Google defines it. Okay, keyword stuffing. This is still, I was surprised that I took over a client site and they had just massive amounts of keyword stuffing. I was pretty surprised, and their site, was actually ranking okay. And you have to be very careful with changing these kinds of things, but at the same time, it's just not right, and it's definitely holding them back from fully utilizing getting the site's potential. And the two of the most important places to do your SEO right, they had just massive, we're talking repeating the same keyword 3, 4, 5, 6 times in the titles and the URLs. And this is a problem. And I'm actually surprised that they were ranking as well as they were ranking. I think they have some other things working for them. And so it was keeping them from being penalized. Also, when you keyword stuff on your site, it makes it a lot harder to do the backlinks or the off-page SEO. You have to be much more careful. So it's kind of a balance between the two. And so as a result, it kind of puts a cap on what you can do to your site. So a lot of people might say, hey, I keyword stuffed and it actually worked. And it's like, well, yes, but to a point. And in order to move beyond that point, you actually have to kind of tear down the keyword stuffing, and it'll temporarily hurt you, and you'll look like, well, why don't I just put that back on there? And you're just like, no, because it's eventually going to hurt you, it's going to keep a cap on what you're able to actually rank for. Now, you don't see a lot of this anymore, where people put in Dallas Personal and Jeweler 1,000 times within the content. Really, you don't really need to worry too much about putting the phrases you want to rank for within the text content. In terms of, maybe you want it in there once, the exact thing that you want to rank for. But beyond that, as long as you're talking to your target market and it kind of is flowing naturally, then that's really what you need to pay attention to, because the actual content on the page doesn't matter nearly as much as the titles, the URLs, the H tags, and stuff like that. Okay, so that's what I've got right now. Those are some pretty big mistakes that can hurt your SEO rankings. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and have a great day. Bye.